Hi, welcome to the Silver Spleen. My name is Freddie Gale, and this is my review of The Crossing Part 1. John Woo directed this movie, which is actually going to be released in two halves, hence the title The Crossing Part 1. It's a John Woo movie, alright. It has birds, and babies, and bromance, and women whose role is essentially decorative. The Crossing tells the story of three couples caught up in the Chinese Civil War. Zhang plays a woman searching for her husband, who's gone off to fight the war. She experiences a series of setbacks, challenges, and violations that would make Meryl Streep green with envy. Huang Xiaoming plays a Kuomintang general who meets a woman, falls in love, gets married, and goes off to war, just like his mother-in-law said he would. His wife, played by a Korean actress whose name I won't even try to pronounce, goes dutifully to Taiwan to wait for him. While there, she meets a doctor played by Takeshi Kaneshiro. He's hoping to reunite with a girl he met in school. His mother may have a different idea. My favorite character was a soldier played by Tong Da-wei. He joined the army because he wanted to learn to read and ended up becoming a career frontline soldier. To me, he was the most human character, if only because he looked like a regular person. The rest of the cast was too photogenic. They were too pretty. Every time Huang Xiaoming turned to look to the side, it was just obtrusive. But in fairness, I think that that's part of the thematic element that John Woo was looking for. One of the things I like about his movies is the way that he can create what you might call a cinematic universe. If you watch Wind Talkers, his movie about the Navajo signalmen of World War II, it can come across as kind of old-fashioned, but I think that was intentional. I don't think he was just trying to tell a story of World War II. I think he was trying to evoke the films of that time, and that's kind of how they were. I see the same thing in The Crossing. It's not just a movie, it's a movie with a lot of cinematic qualities. The actors look and act like movie stars as much as they do characters. It didn't help draw me into the story, but it did help me appreciate the viewing experience. It made me a little nostalgic, and I appreciated that because I like those old movies. They're not realistic and they're a little stilted, but I still like them. That sense of nostalgia allowed me to mostly overlook some of the more unrealistic aspects of the movie. Cars don't screech when they're cornering on mud and dirt. They don't really make any sound at all. Takeshi Kaneshiro plays himself in a school flashback. He's about as convincing a student as I would be. I don't feel tardy. The opening battle sequence unfortunately recycles a few things from the opening of Saving Private Ryan, but it is at least visually and cinematically impressive. That certainly helps explain the utterly illogical nature of what the men are doing in that scene. Let's just say that people with that much tactical ineptitude deserve to get shot. The scene doesn't make any kind of realistic sense, but again, it's a very cinematic moment, and I think that's what it was supposed to do. I also really appreciated that John Woo utilizes some flashes of very necessary nastiness. War is ugly and vicious and disgusting, and I was glad to see glimpses of that throughout the movie. I also thought that the movie juggled the political hand grenade of recent Chinese history quite well. The Crossing occasionally makes the nationalists look bad, but even a cursory glance at history will show you that they weren't saints by any stretch of anyone's imagination. The movie is based around the true story of the sinking of the Taiping during the Chinese Civil War. That part of the story, however, is only going to be shown in the second half of the movie, due to be released in May. The end of Part 1 has what amounts to a preview of Part 2, and quite honestly, it spoils a few things. Obviously, we know that the ship has to sink, but some of the narrative questions that are posed in Part 1 are inadvertently answered by the preview they show at the end. I found it kind of disheartening, but I'm still going to watch Part 2 when it's released. I enjoyed The Crossing. Yeah, it's flawed, but it's a John Woo movie. It looks nice, it's well made, it's interesting, and it tells a story that I wasn't very familiar with. I can recommend that you watch this movie, if only because it's something familiar yet different that a lot of people I think can relate to. If you want to watch the movie, go see it in a cinema, or wait till you can rent it online or at home. You could also wait until it's available for home purchase on disc. Eventually, when this is released to home video, I'll update the description with a link where you could buy it. However you watch the film, please do so legally. If you enjoyed this review, please leave me a comment. If you didn't enjoy the review, leave me a comment. If you enjoy the channel, please subscribe because I can always use more subscribers. Thank you for watching.